Sorry.
You okay?
I was holding it.
Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Car Stereo Talk. We are your hosts.
I am Dean. I am Fernando.
I'm Dean. Nice to meet you. Walk you. Thank you. Walk you? What?
Walk you?
I don't know.
What is walk you?
Walk you's, I don't know. Waka.
Walk you through it?
Fuzzy bear. You know?
Howdy.
Howdy, y'all. Hey, welcome to the show. Tonight we've got a jam-packed show just all lined up for you in the sense that it's the same show we do all the time where you guys ask questions and we answer them and we, give shout-outs to the sponsors of the show. And that means that, like, the first thing we're going to do, as always, is we're going to check in with everyone and see how everybody is doing. Vegas checking in.
What up?
We're going to be there in a week. Evening, gents. Where are we going to be in a week, Fernando?
We're going to be at SEMA. I was about to say the other show. We're going to be at SEMA at the booth with Rockford Fosgate.
Yep, new stuff are coming. Good evening, everyone. Hola, amigos.
Hey.
Greetings, wonderful peeps.
What
hey,
up?
guys. Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Howdy, y'all. This is it. Checking in from Sydney.
From where?
Yeah, Sydney. In your opinion, what's a car stereo brand that is very expensive, but the quality and sound... Wait, hold on. In your opinion, what's a car brand stereo that's very expensive, but the quality and sound quality is trash? Ooh, Joel, I'll have to think about that. Like an expensive thing that sounds like crap. That's basically what you could have gone with.
Huh.
Let me think on that one for a couple minutes. We'll circle back around to that one. I'm not ready to bash this early in the show. Not that I ever do. Buenos tardes.
Hey, ¿cómo estás?
I don't know the rest. Ricardo. Fellas, what is up? Hello from Wisconsin. That one's yours.
¿Puedo agregar un LC7i para un aftermarket stereo? Sí puedes, pero no tendrías por qué. El aftermarket radio tiene 6 salidas de RCA.
West Coast.
Yes, pretty much.
West Coast.
So no necesitas el LC7i.
Correct. Basically, for those who didn't get it, he was asking if you needed an LC7i for an aftermarket radio, and the answer was no. You didn't.
It was no.
And I speak no Spanish and figured that one out.
You killed it.
Hi from the UK. Howdy from Jersey Shore. Oh, hi. We'll be back there this summer. Yeah. Good evening from Arizona.
Hello. You're going to be in
I'll
Arizona,
be there in
right?
like 2 weeks. I'll be in Arizona
In 2 weeks.
at
You kill
Dino's
it.
Get Down.
Yeah.
Shout out to Paul the Phantom.
Phantom?
He's already gone home probably at this point. Evening from Arizona.
Oh, no, he left like a long time ago.
I checked out. Good evening, y'all.
Yes.
Anyone surprised by
Stellantis.
messing up Ram and Dodge lineup and it's kicking them to the curb? No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know what is that. What is Stellantis?
That's the parent company. That's the company that owns, the little stupid car.
Okay. Yeah. Now I know
the
what
parent
you're talking
company that owns Chrysler.
Okay.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't really been following along with it, so it is what it is. Akron, Ohio, checking in. There we go. 72 degrees. Oh, how nice.
Chris.
Houston,
Texas.
Hello, fellas. Southern Indiana.
What's up?
Good
guys?
afternoon from South Dakota.
San Diego.
San Diego. I like South Dakota. You're not from there because very few people are. But I'm just going to say it, Dean, I remember you mentioned you hated a certain brand of sound and you usually drop it some
voice.
400. It's 500 hertz. 500 hertz. I don't like 500 hertz.
Yes.
500 hertz got to go. Within reason, right?
The frequency. I don't think it's
Yeah, 500 hertz is just really annoying.
Yeah.
So you out the window.
Well,
1,000 hertz too is usually like
72 Twin Cities.
but I don't remove. So when I'm tuning, I will remove 500 hertz. I will level 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You don't pull it down.
I pull
You
down
just,
500.
no, but I mean
Yeah.
you pull down, but it's just like you level the whole thing.
No, 500 will be a dip
Ah,
because it's an annoying frequency anyway. So yeah.
I just want to go against.
Good evening. Oh, hold on.
Good evening.
Good evening. Fiat. Thank you. See, Fiat.
Yes,
Fiat.
I rent that one. Remember?
Yeah, you rented a Fiat.
Mm-hmm.
Morel will probably be at Dino's as well.
Yes.
At least they have been in the past. Actually, they will be at Dino's, and when we get in
You guys go
Thursday,
together, right?
Natasha, Haley, and Natasha's daughter, we're all driving 2 hours to the one and only Sweet Tomatoes in Arizona. That's my penance for taking Haley.
So what he trying to say is, if you guys gonna be
at Sweet Tomatoes,
go and meet him. You know.
Good evening from Sydney, Australia. Australia. He's living in a land down under. So
preference.
Brandon. M. Preference. Octagonal or square.
Crimper ferrules.
So on the bigger wire, usually the square. On the smaller wire, the octagonal.
Octagonal?
Yes, that's octagonal is the word that he's put there. So the smaller wire is the octagonal crimper. Like if you go up to an 8 gauge, you got to use the square. So I think the 10 gauge and below, you can do octagonal. Anything past that is going to be square. So 8 gauge, 4 gauge, 0 gauge is like a W.
Yeah.
Because
like a U. It's just like this.
It's a W. It's literally a W. I can show you tomorrow. It's a W.
Thank you for that too.
Thank you. And Ramon,
thank you so much, man. Before we continue with the chats, let's go ahead up to.
I'm just gonna stop there at Hi-Fi's conversation because Hi-Fi. Hey, we do this little thing. I got call the 12-volt clean. Oh my gosh,
you got it? You sure?
I'm trying. It's
you don't got nothing, bro.
Oh, there we go. We do this little page called the 12-volt clean wire club. Small page, lots of people. It's a couple. And every week, Fernando scours the page to find what he considers to be the prettiest clean wire job. And this week, as always, is no exception. This right here was done by, as Fernando frantically looks through his phone to figure out who it was done by.
I'm not going to say his name because it's just...
So he has the cool little up mixer there in the middle, which is cool.
Mihai? I don't know.
M&M. 2 M's. Anyways.
Margaret. Something like
that. Margarita?
I mean, without the A, that would be Margarita, but it's Marguerite.
I don't know.
Anyway, go check the picture.
Fantastic job.
See who did the picture.
So,
awesome.
Okay. So there's a couple manufacturers that do amplifiers like this.
Yes.
And I love when they put the copper covers over the power supplies like that.
Yeah.
They look so sexy. I love the look of these amplifiers. They're so sexy.
Yeah.
I don't own any of them personally.
Yeah.
Which thank God, because I need more stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to do a garage sale and get rid of some of this stuff because we have way too much stuff.
Really?
Yeah, we have way too much stuff. We have the Phoenix Gold, the really nice Phoenix Gold amps.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we gonna do with these? I will never use these. I mean, they're pretty as hell, but I just.
Just pay attention. Soon it's going to be a sell.
Anyways, as always, this is brought to you by the fine folks at Kenwood. So
Kenwood USA,
KenwoodUSA.com. Check them out. You're going to want to... Okay, if you're not subscribed to Kenwood's...
newsletter.
Yes, they do an email newsletter about once a month. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like they don't spam the crap out of you. But
no.
If you're not registered to their newsletter, I strongly suggest you go do it now because what's coming around the bend, as they say, everyone's going to want to know about. It's going to be game changing. I'm super excited about it. Game changing. Like game. Like here's the game. They're going to change it. So make sure to tune in. Or get on there. Javier, what is up? Because it's going to be fantastic. So that was Kenwood. So make sure you follow them. I don't know what else to tell you. But right now, This first segment is brought to you by the fine folks at Mosconi-America.com.
Yes.
And today we are going to take a look at this little guy right here.
So convenient,
is the Pro 110. That's right. This is the one chassis. They make two chassis, as we've learned. This is the Pro 110. And of course, it's basically the sub-amp, the one and only sub-amp that we have to play with when we're doing Mosconi. I'm going to pop over here to the web page. Move that for a second. If we scroll down, we could say up to 975 watts at 2 ohm. This is a 2 ohm amplifier. So if we come down here, we have 975 watts up at 2 ohm. So this is the little amp that you buy. This is the little amp that could. This is the little sub amp. So you can get like the Pro 830. You can get the Pro 4
or 30.
You can the 1/4 that we talked about on last week. They make the one. Yeah, they make a bunch of these. So anyways, this is the 110. So now we have the sub amp to go along with everything. Like if you get an 830, you can get a 110 to power up. I said, why did I call this a 1? This is a 10 series. So you have a 10 series, you have a 30 series. This is what happens when you got too much going on in your head. So this is the 10. So we have the 410, the 210, the 110. Saturday we talked about the 410. So now we have the 110 to go with it. So if you wanted like a really cool 5-channel, or if you wanted to do 410, 410, or 410, a 210, and a 110, you put 3 of these together and look really sexy. Or you can do an 830 and a 110. There's a lot you could do. Oh, you do a 410, a 230 on your mid bass, and 2 110s. Oh yeah, that would be so sexy. That would be so sexy.
I want all of them.
Or you do a 430, a
430,
a 430, a 230. No, 430, a 230, 2 110s.
230?
Yeah, they make a 230. This is a 110. They make a 230.
The 230 is the big one, right?
It's a 30 series. So, yeah, so you have 2 big ones and 2 small ones. That way it keeps the whole ergonomic. Anyways, head over to Mosconi-America.com. Check them out. These are what should be in your next build.
All right.
Okay, go ahead. Lay it on me. Let's get those questions queued up, guys.
Love the moment. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Love them. No, go ahead. You read it.
I'm going to go get my soda.
Okay, fine. Love the moment at World Finals when we talked to the guy about Clean Wire Club, and you were standing right there, and I was like, that's this guy. Yeah, so we were standing there behind the BMW dude.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I really, really like the Clean Wire, and I'm just standing there because I was saying nothing. Rob was like, I got a small YouTube channel, and I'm just here to look. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, what do you do to me? And I said, I just stand next to him, And he's like, oh yeah, So Rob was kind of egging him on and stuff like that. And I'm just standing there. He goes, oh, so you like the Clean Wire then, huh? Yeah. He goes, oh yeah, you on that page, the Clean Wire page? He goes, yeah, I love that page. He goes, that's the guy right there. That's his page. And he's like. He looks at me and he goes, yeah. I go, yeah, it's a little thing we do.
That's funny.
I mean, It's like, okay. Yeah.
Mr. Nathan.
Yeah.
When he saw me and he's like, oh, let's take a picture before you leave. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So he's there and he's like, please, can you take a picture of us? And he's like, okay. And he's like, hey, we have Fernando over here. And the guy's like, what's going on? Like, what are you guys like?
Who are you
guys? And I'm like,
I love that. I love the confusion.
I don't know, man. We just came here to look what is going on.
Yeah. What's up, El Fuego?
Nathan is like, no, these guys are like famous and things. I'm like,
no, we're not. And they just look at you. I don't know if that's a dick move or not.
Well, I don't consider myself.
I don't know. I know. I mean, Sebastian is the famous one.
Dude, he's like, I'm famous, right? Like the guy recognized me.
Basically replacements for the DVR N520 drive recorder HD cam. Right now, there isn't one. It's still current. Like, they just actually shipped a brand new batch of those. We thought they were going to be discontinued, and they weren't. We just got in a whole bunch more, so they're continuing on building that particular piece. So, yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So there we go. I'll wait for the 10-10-10. Yes, right? 10-10-10. There you go. Morel Hybrids set my amp gains for 140 watts per channel. Tweeters are super bright. Do I gain down amp or set tweeters at -3? Personally, I would gain down the amp. I would just, if the tweeters are at 0 and you have them on their own level control. So the reason why your crossover has adjustments, and so for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, let me see if I have that over here. Oh, how convenient. I have it over here. Do I? I thought I did. Ah, yeah, it's right here. Okay, so if we look right here, right here, this little spot right here on this crossover. See, there's a little jumper right there. And what that's used for is if you're running 2 channels from an amplifier into your passive crossover network, and you're having a hard time balance between the tweeter and the mid-range, like the tweeter is too loud or the tweeter is too quiet, you can move these jumpers. Some will have switches inside of it, like the Focal has a switch inside of it. And what it'll do is it'll allow you to attenuate the excitement out of the tweeter in correlation to the mid-range. Now, if you can turn the amplifier down and keep the mid-range as excited as you want it to be, I would suggest doing that. And of course, if you're active channels, then I would definitely do volume from the amplifier, because I always want to turn the volume of the amplifier down as much as I possibly can. So there's that. Okay. Sorry, the exhale was not for you. It was for my phone. Drama. Look what he wrote. Drama.
A lot of A's, huh?
Yeah. So anyways, go ahead with the next one.
Okay, so I'm just gonna draw.
Yeah, good.
Right
Good times. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Have you ever come across this problem where the parking sensor's audio stops working on a 2022 Audi? I fitted a Rockford Fosgate PBR 404. So the only time we've ever run into like a weird thing, and usually the backup sensors are loud enough to where they won't be crossed over out, but sometimes you can, like if you set the crossover too high or you do like a surround on the rear, the sound can do strange things if you're going high level into it. Like you just lose, because they're out of, like let's say you put a crossover in there and it's up above or down below the beep, beep, beep sound. So you cut the volume because you're crossing it over. But that's like rare, and usually if you're quiet, see, but the problem is then you turn down the volume and you can't hear the beeping anymore, because that's the other problem. So like if your gain for the rear is too low, you're going to lose it that way also. Now, if it's an external speaker, like some cars have, which I don't remember if they are on the Audi or not, then that's usually has nothing to do with the amplifier at that point. But if it's coming through the speaker, through that amp channel, and you've high leveled into it.
Yeah, so, yeah, technically, what happened if you remove or kind of disconnect the speakers? Seems like you only use 4 channels, right?
Well, yeah. But
so if you disconnect the other...
Well, I was going to say, or just fade it to the rear, turn the gain up, turn the crossover off, see if you get sound.
Yeah.
I think that seems to make the most sense. But that would be the only time you're gonna lose those
sensors.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then gentlemen.
What's up?
So Mr. Smith is saying that it needs a load, which could also be true too. I'm sorry, I just assumed that people put loads. I shouldn't. That was on everything. So if you don't have a load on it, then you're going to need a load. What I mean by load is I used to have these. I have these. There we go. So this is a load generator right here. This is the AC LGD. This is the blue. You probably need the green, which would be a 20, AC LGD 20.
Yeah.
And that would solve the problem. So all these factory systems need to have load generators on them, which is basically a resistor that goes in line to tell the amplifier that it's connected to a speaker. So that could definitely be a problem, that it's not seeing that. see something here. Where is accessories? There we are. New accessories. Let's come down here and we'll click on these right here. So let me get rid of that. And so these are the AudioControl AC LGDs. The greens are the 20s, which are definitely the most popular, and that's what we pretty much put on everything that we do. Depending on, now in some cases that isn't enough, in which case you'll need purples, which are from Metra. But I would start with the greens and see what you got. That is going to fool the radio or outboard amplifier or the amplifier to think that it's still got a speaker connected to it, which it may need to do the backup sensors. It's kind of weird, I know, but give it a try. According to Jeff, that's Jeff's thought on it. But the other part that I said could also be it too. So there's two things you can try, and one of us is going to be right.
Okay. Are you going to put another one?
Yeah, I was getting ready to.
Perfect.
I was just going to be, since we're talking about AudioControl, let's just throw the AudioControl up and keep it simple. This next segment is brought to you by the fine folks at AudioControl. Along with load resistors, if you'd like to add amplifiers to your system, well, here's a nice 4-channel. If you want a bigger 4-channel, that's right. This guy right here is the new Altitude 600.4. Now, we've talked a lot about the monoblocks because I feel like the monoblocks always get all the love and the 4-channels don't, which is a shame because, I mean, look at the sexiness of this. It has 10-time multiplier switches on both sets of channels, so you can use it to power tweeters, you can use it to power mid-range, you can just do front, you can just do rear, you can plug it into a DSP. One of the features on this is the cool little input here that says valet mode, and that's so you can hook a toggle switch up to this and it'll attenuate down the system. So if you find yourself, I don't know, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a wife that's crazy and you don't want them to blow your stuff, you can add a toggle switch to this if you'd like, so that you can put it into valet mode, walk out there real quick, and then they can't blow your stuff, right? That sounds like awesome. If you'd like to know more about this and also the new Epic Series amplifiers, you can have it at audiocontrol.com. Check them out.
There you go. Jeff says Audi is a class SB.
If it's bass audio. All right, so if it's an SB series amplifier, then I strongly recommend going over to Metra's site and picking up Metra's purple low resistors. Those are going to be the ones you're going to want for SB. Let me see if I can locate those. Why don't you pull up
another one?
Yeah.
All right. Another question is, are the Stinger amplifiers going away? You know?
Yes.
You know? Or yes, they're going away?
Yes.
Yes and yes?
Yes.
Epic. Yes, that's going to be epic for sure.
Yes. So there again, honestly, don't know. More than likely, yeah. Is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. Are they the same amplifiers? Not really. They're not. So there's right now the rumor is yes, but it's unsubstantiated. No one has 100% came to us and said they're gone. No one that can. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, these are what Jeff is talking about. These are the 10 ohm load resistors. These are the. This is what you're going to need for SB. So they're going to come in a cool package like this. Hold on, like this. So these, if you want to find them online, these are going to be the, let me give you a part number. These are the AX LR10s. Okay, so that's the AX LR10. These are 10 ohm load resistors. And I know when he said this is the bass audio is an SB. SB is a class of amplifier that does really weird stuff. Hang on. Here we go. So this is an SB amplifier, and this is what it is doing to your signal. Okay, so this is like really the craziest thing you've ever seen. And so the 10 ohm load resistor will get in there and allow it to properly, well, to the best of its ability, perform. But as you can see, this is legit the most ridiculous output ever. And how this works is that at different volumes, it's doing different things, and it's really annoying. The new Bronco system has an SP amplifier. Now, if you would like a piece of equipment that's just designed to do that, both Focal Helix, and Mosconi Gladen do have high-level to low-level adapters that are SB compatible. Jeff could probably put up a part number for the Helix version of it. You can also, there are two amplifier manufacturers that have the high-level circuit built into them, into the amplifier themselves. There again is Helix and Mosconi. Both of those, the Mosconi DSP amps and the Helix DSP amps, have SB compliance built into them. It's just a little jumper you pop in and it takes care of it. So the 10 ohm load resistor is the band-aid that we have that does the best job that it can. So like all load resistors. So there we go. How exciting.
All right, hang on. I got a good one over here.
Hi. What is the difference between an Epicenter Concert Series and Epicenter Micro? Will the Micro work with a fully aftermarket system? I really prefer the ACR bass knob. Okay, so simple question. They're the same thing, okay? But there are subtle differences. And yes, they will both work in an aftermarket stereo. They both have RCA inputs. The difference is on the Epicenter Micro, along with the ACR4, you have a couple other things. So this is it right here. Ooh, right there. And all these switches across the bottom are what make it different. First off, because you have the ACR4, the knob up front for effect is up front, which is fantastic, along with volume control. So you only need the one knob. Two, you have the load resistors that we've been talking about up till this point built into it right here. So you have the 20 ohm, you have the 60 ohm built right into it. So you just basically the green and the gray. You can toggle between them. If you don't have anything, you just use the RCA input, which is located right here. So your aftermarket radio, would plug right into this and come right out of here and go into, so the aftermarket radio will go here, aftermarket amplifier go here. Remote turn on. So because it is a high level to low level adapter, it has remote in, which is what you would use, but it also has GTL and audio sense for the factory radio application. Then you have ground isolation. The other unit has that too. They both have ground isolation. The difference is on the Concert Series, it's built in. You got to pull the top to switch it. I've never actually had to do that. On the Micro, it's built into the front panel right here. And then you have the PFM filter. So the PFM filter on the Concert Series is engaged. Basically, the PFM filter is a really cool way to say subsonic filter. It has a subsonic filter built into it because some of the things that the Epicenter does by creating these ultra low frequencies, your speakers and amplifiers don't necessarily appreciate that as much as you do. So the PFM filter is put in there as a subsonic filter to limit the destruction it could possibly do to your amplifier and speaker. They've been asked to turn it off because you get the guys that want to play 20 hertz all day long. They want it off, so they can buy a Micro and it can be turned off. And then, of course, you have output voltage, 5, 7.5, and 10 volts. So this is, other than size, there's all the features that this has are really for high level to low level adapter. What you're going to be paying for is the cool bass knob. Outside of that, it's the same thing. So there we go.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Finally happy with the install thanks to you guys and your advice and guidance. Thank you very much. Enjoy a cool breeze, 67 degrees here in Modesto area.
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, it's cold.
67? Yeah, I would be cold. What's up, Mary Lou?
Hey. Hydraulic Maestro AR2.
Availability. I feel like I've been waiting forever. Philip, you have been waiting forever. But they are probably going to be available in the next, I don't know. They're coming. Like literally right now they're coming. We've got ours. So, which I think I've showed plenty of times, but we have ours that we have for our samples, the beta test. The Gold Master is the one that you're going to get. But I think though, I mean, like within weeks.
I think it has to be like SEMA's coming.
Yeah, I think it's
and I think after SEMA that should be,
because we know that the Mic 1 won't available until first part of next year.
Really?
Yeah, because he said January.
January?
He said January.
That's next year?
That'd be next year.
Oh
So
my
it's like
God.
a month, 2 months. So,
Okay,
but I think
if you say 2 months, it sounds better than the same next
so.
year.
2 months, 2 months
There you
away,
go.
and I think that we're gonna see the AR2
On the same.
any day now, literally any day now. So
Okay, so you maybe wake up tomorrow and it's like
there's
boom,
a possibility.
Yeah.
There is totally a possibility.
it's up. Okay.
Scott, you're funny. No, it's no. It's an illusion. Caught an older episode from last week, I think. That's not really that old. I ordered a bunch of Tamiya cars, going to get a gold pan RC10 as well. Optima came in as well. Poor kid. A long time ago. Yeah, right? So I still actually have my gold pan RC10 and I have my black pan RC10T still, like the originals, because apparently I don't get rid of that stuff. So now I have my chrome pan prototype RC10. I have a Grasshopper, a Hornet, and a Blackfoot.
Grasshopper.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a friend, they call him Grasshopper.
There was this, yeah. It was a TV show.
No, but that was for a different reason.
I know, but it was a TV show. I'd like to get a hot shot because I used to have a hot shot that I really liked. So you think that would be pretty cool?
Oh, look at her.
No, they
How
don't.
do you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason why they have them is because we made them get them, Mary Lou. That's the reason why they exist, because we literally. So in the purple because of Jeff. So
It's because of Jeff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, I had to make them purple for Jeff. So boom.
Boom.
Yeah, tell me something I don't already know. Punky Brewster. The frog was on Punky Brewster. Yeah, and so I didn't get the frog because I already have Blackfoot, which is basically just a frog with big wheels on it.
Okay.
For increased volume or just more amp headroom, would you
Use
2 ohm bass drivers or just bridge to 4 ohm driver? Does higher ohm load allow better sound? So this is one of those weird questions where you're like, okay, so I just do 2 ohm stereo or 4 ohm mono. Technically, it's the same amount of power. It's just what it's doing to the amplifier. And honestly, like when you talk to engineers, you never get a great answer. Like no one engineer said, do this. So I like to personally run it at, if I'm doing 2 subs, I like a 1-wire option. So I'm going to run it at 4 ohm mono, because I just want to run 1 wire to the back, and that's that. That would be a great question to talk to Brad about. If we could, one day we got to get Brad on the show and say, but technically the amplifier should be seeing the same amount of abuse no matter what you're doing. But I'm sure there's some little weird thing that it's like, no, when it does this and flips the channels but I typically go mono. I don't think it sounds any different. But that's just me. So, yeah, there's that. All right, I'm going to switch. Or where are we at? So, you're good.
I'm good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Just trying to think
I'm
where we
always
should
good.
be on.
I
we
think
still
just
got
just
I think
take
we got
more.
a couple more minutes.
little bit more.
Hey, Dean and Fernando, 2021 F-150 Lariat with AGM factory battery, 600 watt, 1300 watt amp, no dimming. Do I need big 3 upgrade? I wouldn't touch the electrical system in an F-150 for all the money in the world. Like, okay, I would for all the money in the world, but I mean, no, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. You're fine. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Just don't even, because it's aluminum. Who knows what it's doing? Who knows? They figured it out. They have it grounded the best they can. More than likely, your ground, we always go to the battery with power and ground.
Yeah.
So you have the best ground in the car.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's going to work any better because it's aluminum. I mean, really, if you wanted to do the big 3, just throw away the aluminum part of it and make it a steel body, and that would solve the problem. I don't think a little copper is going to make anything better. You know what I mean? So, and you're not using the car's ground for anything. You're going right to the battery.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, don't even bother.
As soon as you buy it, is like you say it's a 2021.
Yeah.
We are like 2024. Replace your battery to have a brand new
it should
one,
be
but
fine.
other
It's
than
factory
that,
dude, those factory batteries are smoking, bro.
solid.
Yeah, I always do that.
1900 watts.
Yeah.
It's
Hi, Christian. How you doing? Sorry you're late. It happens.
Yeah.
And look at Mary Lou trying to be funny. Jeff equals purple, therefore Barney.
Barney.
I was thinking Mace Windu, cool Jedi, but I mean, you go with what you know. You go with what you know, Dora the Explorer. Okay, moving on.
Will Kenwood be introducing a dashcam that integrates with the DMX 950A XR?
So I mean, they currently have the current dash cam that
Yes.
integrates with it. As far as whether they're going to update or not, it's not on. It's not.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. It's nothing that they've told us. I mean, yeah. Car Sewer Chick did a video on the Audi needs an update from the audio.
There you go. Wow, look at that.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
you could, yeah, because you could probably do some stuff, or just use, like I said, just use 10 ohm load resistors to get away with it.
Okay.
Because I mean, that's what we would do.
Yeah.
But, the AudioControl 3 ohm PMW series mid-high
awesome.
speakers are awesome. I'm glad you like them, El Fuego. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, I was going there.
Yep.
Rockford speakers in the motorcycle side saddlebags that's filled almost to the top. If a speaker doesn't have enough room behind it, can that blow the speaker? Yes. Yes,
Behind
you can.
it?
Yeah, you need air behind the speaker. The speaker moves air, okay? And how
Yeah.
it creates sound is its ability to move said air.
Mm-hmm.
Back pressure is important, but a speaker is tuned to have a certain amount of back pressure. Therefore, if something is not like, so for example, if the speaker is coming in and there's not enough air behind it that it can properly travel, then you're going to create a lot of heat because the motor structure is going to try to pull it back. And if the air behind it is going to limit it, then what you're going to do is you're going to end up heating up the speaker. You can burn the voice coil, right? Just from it not moving far enough. Same thing can happen to a subwoofer. It's no different. The sound difference is like anything else. You could assume if you put a lot of air behind it, let it do what it needs to do, it's probably going to have a deeper, fuller sound. Whereas if you stiffen up the motor structure, such as a loudspeaker that doesn't move because it's got a like big magnet, rigid as hell, and it doesn't move, and it just sounds like Led Zeppelin screaming at you. Robert Plant full on, just like Okay, so those speakers don't move, and they're not made to. So it doesn't matter what's behind them. You just put them in a wall and rock on. Whereas a standard audio driver needs to move a bit. So the thing is you don't need a ton of air, but you do need air. When they're like for example, when we went to Kicker has these boxes, and they're the ugliest looking things you've ever seen. And they're like, what are those? And he goes, those are the speakers we've sounded every door speaker on for like the last 20 years. And I'm like, no kidding. Like, yeah, it's basically the airspace of a door, so that they can, instead of having a door there, they can put the speaker in there and kind of get an idea of what it's going to sound like in a door. And it's the size of a door. Whereas, people will take those XTC foam baffles and they'll put them behind thinking they're doing something cool. And that's why I tell people never to do that, because you're not giving the speaker, it needs air. It needs air. So now if you design a speaker to where it doesn't need air or needs a limited amount of air, or in the case of like a Harley, you know how much air it's going to have, then you're okay. You just design it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Super
it's crazy.
ridiculous.
Okay, so now I'm going to change. This next segment is brought to you by the fine folks at Arc Audio. That's right. So we talk about the Blackbird all the time. We showed you how to use it on a DSP, but some of you might not understand the size of the Blackbird, because I have people come in every day, and they'll be like, I'll be like, you need one of these, and they'll be like, you got anything bigger? And I'm like, it's 1,000 watts, dude. Like, what? How much bigger do you need? But this is the famed Blackbird, and this is an iPhone. Just to give you an idea of the size of a Blackbird. This is the bigger iPhone. This is obviously not the smaller, and that is the Disney Castle. Okay, so there again, it's not super high, and it has a ton of stuff on the front that you can do with this. way too much in my opinion, but you can pretty much hook anything you want up to this amplifier as far as extracurricular stuff. So you have your input and output are located here. You have your controller. You have your digital in, aka Toslink. The one thing that always gets me is this is the switch for the remote turn on. It has remote, DC offset, and signal sense, and it's right underneath the speaker plug. And I always forget to set it up before I do it. And then I'm like, where the hell's the switch? Oh, yeah, it's underneath here. You have your AXP input, your PSC input, your LR1 remote. This is if you just want a basic bass knob. That's what your LR1 remote is for. It's pretty cool. Your USB input for programming. That's the important one. Then you have your remote in and remote out, as well as your profile 1 and profile 2. So if you want to do 2 DSP settings, you don't need to buy the big expensive controller. You can literally just do a toggle switch to turn them on. Okay, and that's really cool. That allow you to switch between preset 1 and 2. You have your 4 RC outputs, power and ground. Way over here, located down in the bottom, this little white thing underneath the fuse is for your AR connection, because you can hook this up via iData and control it. But this is it. And of course, you got 3 little 30 amp fuses on there. But this is the whole thing. It's tiny, it's small, and it puts out so much power. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's not much to look at, guys. That's, I think, what throws people off. This is a utilitarian amplifier. So this is made for a modern car to solve modern problems. It is not made to be flashy. It's made to just sound good and work. How hard to remove the heatsink on the Blackbird? I'm making mine silver. I've never tried. I don't know. That's a good question. We've never actually taken it apart.
So it has the screws in here too.
Well, no, that's the internal heatsink.
Okay.
So there's another heatsink that's inside of here. The board on this is gorgeous. So it's got this big mountainscape on it that's really sexy. So, but anyways, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll take it apart at some point. I know we will. Melissa knows her stuff. Oh yeah, yes she does. Yes, I've met her. She's cool. Hello, I have a Honda HR-V and it's a 2020. I'm looking to put some speakers in it and a subwoofer to improve the sound. What would you recommend? I plan on keeping the original head unit.
So, Melissa, that's what he
Add a key lock and do at least a 5-channel amp. The 802.5 Metro has the speaker adapters, and to cut a little metal if it's a big 6.5, then do downfire and subwoofer. That would be the minimum for sure.
Yeah.
So, which kind of car was it?
It's a Honda CR-V.
Oh, key lock. Okay.
HR-V.
HR-V. Yeah. Sorry.
CR-V, whatever.
So, everything Melissa said is a fantastic solution to your problem. It'll give you what you're looking for. In that particular vehicle, anytime we do a 5-channel amp anymore, we don't use it for front, rear, and sub. Our main focus is front tweeter, front mid, and sub. We call that a front stage upgrade because that's where we want to focus our energy. We want to make sure that we have a really predominant front stage. The rears are just rears. They make noise. And to me, I find it very hard to put the same amount of power on 4 speakers as I do 2 crappy speakers that I'm never going to hear because they're behind me. So that's why we do that. Now, the Blackbird that we just showed you, this guy, would be also an awesome amplifier to do that because this is 8 channels of power with a 12-channel DSP. And what that basically means for you and I is you could put this little guy here that'll fit up underneath the seat in your vehicle, and it has 8 channels. So we can actually turn it into a 7-channel, which means we can do 6 channels, 2 for the tweeters, 2 for the mids, 2 for the rear, and then 1 channel out. We can bridge 7 and 8 to go off to your subwoofer. So this would be, and we have a DSP, so we can DEQ it, we can EQ it. We do anything we want to the audio system with this cool little box. So, anyways, that's an option too. Either one. Depends on your budget. At the end of the day, it always just depends on your budget and what you're trying to do. 2020 Elantra, non-amplified, running Kenwood, 606 DSP, solder in RCA's, signal 2.5, 2.5 years with this setup, no load resistors. Do I need to go back and put them in? I mean, technically, you should have at least the LGD blues. That's your basicest load resistance on there. This is just designed to go in there. It depends, though. So if that had quick...
But he say, like he never had any problems.
Well, that's what I'm going to get to.
Yeah.
So it depends on what type of amplifier the factory amplifier was. So if it was using one of those inexpensive, cheap AB class amplifier circuits that everyone is talking about, that would be why the load resistors haven't been an issue for you. Load resistors are typically what helps stabilize the output voltage of a Class D amplifier when the manufacturers are using Class D. I don't know what topology the factory amplifier is in your car. I'm assuming that since you haven't had any issues, maybe not. But the other thing, too, is that the reason why the blues are the bare minimum is because it helps to level out the amplifier's performance in the higher frequency range. Some amplifiers, like the Kenwood, may have a high-pass filter built into it that is going to filter out the issues that you would be having. That's why in some cases, you would, back in this time period, the F-150s, you would have some that would literally catch the tweeters on fire. They wouldn't. They'd just get really hot and they'd explode. Put the load resistor on there, it would solve that. But if your amplifier had a built-in low-pass filter on the high output that is just in there that you don't know anything about, that would limit the problems you'd be having. It takes nothing to put these in and see if it works and see if it does anything. My guess is you're probably not going to notice the difference. You might, though. You might. And it might keep the factory amplifier from blowing up. It is a 2021. It's only 3 years old. That doesn't mean it's going to make it to 4 years old. So give it a go. I mean, they're like $25. See if it helps. It's not going to hurt it. Let's just say that. But, yeah. Rear speakers are more important. No, they're not. Does a 2024 Tundra with non-JBL need a DSP that can EQ and input like an Audison, or can I use any DSP? I'm going to go with no on the you can't use any DSP. But let's play this game out for what it really is. Okay, so we can you got to understand what it is you're doing. Okay, what headache are we stepping into with this one? The Toyota is going to have all-pass filters, whether it's a JBL or not. All-pass filters are designed so when you're sitting in your car and you're listening to it, the sound sounds like it's coming from the center of the gauge cluster. And on the passenger sides, it sounds like it's coming from somewhere in the airbag region. Not totally, but somewhere in that area, okay? If that works for you, then any DSP, as long as you don't use time alignment, you can EQ it. You can have all kinds of fun with it, okay? But outside of that, like if you're wanting to time alignment, create a center image, and do all those fun things, no, that's where a more particular DSP comes to mind. Or, which I'll tell you in a minute, there's another device that can do all of the de-equalization side of things for you. So you just hit the magic button. It's a magic box, okay? So it really is just going to depend on what the outcome is. If we're just trying to make it louder and we want to EQ it a little bit, meaning the tonality, change it, but we're fine with the representation as far as how it's playing out, then yeah, any DSP will work. If you want to fix it and then do time alignment, any DSP will work if you put a key lock from Kicker in front of it. Now, a key lock is a high-level to low-level adapter with the de-equalization circuit built into it. It's one of the best de-equalization circuits, automatically doing it all by itself with no issues. So like when we all watch Ken do it in the Audison video, Ken is a professional. Ken is literally, this is all Ken does. Ken just sits there and looks for these problems and shows, look how easy this is. And once you've done it 20, 30 times, it is pretty easy. But if you've never done it before and it's like, I don't want to screw with that. That's why the key lock exists, because you throw a key lock in there, you hit its magic button, you let it do its run its thing, takes anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes, and it'll run its tests and do all its cool stuff. And then when you're done, you have a perfectly cool signal that you can run into anybody's DSP and do whatever you want. Now, keep in mind, if you want to do front and rear, you'll need 2 of them. Me personally, if I don't have anything happening in the rear, like there's no backup sensors or anything like that, then I can just use the front signal to occupy the rear. It's up to you as far as what you want to do. But the key lock will allow you to do that. Now, if you want to buy an amplifier that has all the magic whiz bang stuff built into it, and you just hit, and hope and like you want to work it, every high quality DSP will have that. But if you want the auto feature, you're going to have to use either the Audison or you're going to have to use the Helix. And outside of that, the Arc Audio and the Mosconi, they'll do it. You just have to manually do it. So really, the key lock is probably the safest bet. All-pass filters. An all-pass filter, just to answer Scott's question, is not a filter. You don't have like HP, AP, and LP. That means HP means high frequencies, AP means all frequencies, and LP means low frequencies. An all-pass filter, there's two types, all-pass 1, all-pass 2. And what they are designed to do is it's one frequency that's flipped 180 degrees. Now, if you'd really, thumbs up for me. If you would really like to dig deep into this, that was neat. We had Andy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we had Andy Waymeyer on the show earlier this year, and we had him talk to us about two topics, all-pass filters and upmixers. So there's like a 20-minute dissertation from Andy Waymeyer talking to you about what an all-pass filter is if you'd really like to get like really deep into it. So I would suggest going back and watching that one. It's pretty cool. He does a really nice job, and it is on the main channel. Phase filters. Frequency phase filters is what you're trying to think of, GS, because it's a frequency phase filter. Thank you for your answer, Dean. You're doing God's work. If he likes it loud and to sound good, yeah. I know what it meant. Just was saying that the Tundra is all pass. Yes, Tundra is all pass. Yes, it does. Believe it or not, Toyotas have had an all pass filter since like the 90s. We never knew it because, for one, we didn't have the awesome tools that we have now for testing, and two, we didn't really have DSPs with time alignment for it to be an issue. And it's really only the time alignment, if you're going to use it, that screws up the all-pass filter. If you're not using time alignment, you don't have to worry about them. They're just going to do their job the way they've always done them. So that's what I'm saying. It just depends what you're going to do.
It was bad system that you guys did back then.
Yeah.
Horrible system.
Yeah,
wow, dude.
It was crazy. It's crazy.
Shame on yourselves. Jesus. Audio control speakers. Audio control speakers or the Audison Prima speakers? What sounds better?
Audio control speakers. I feel like they're two totally different speakers. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're definitely two totally different speakers.
Yeah, different.
And okay, so the audio control will definitely be a more bright, more than the Audison. The Audison is going to be a little less that because it has a Silk Soft Dome tweeter. It's sunk into the mid range or the coaxial. Yeah. So Audison be a little more tame. Audio control will be a little bit more like, hey, look at me. Pull up your thinkware.
Yes, sir. Hang on.
No, I'm fine. Scott thinks Prima. I mean, I have Primas. Primas would be smoother. Yes, that would mean smoother.
Yeah.
That's what's in Haley's car right now is a set of the Primas. At some point, we'll have to take those out because, whatever's next. Hey, speaking of whatever's next, the next thing we're going to put in Haley's car this weekend, as a matter of fact, before we leave for Vegas to go hang out at SEMO with our good friends at Rockford Fosgate, we're going to be putting a ThinkWare dash cam in her car because she's driving to work now. And after sitting there at nighttime watching these crazy-ass videos on Instagram and going, these people be nuts, bro.
Yeah.
She's getting a dash cam on Saturday before we go home. So where else better to find a dash cam is ThinkWare. And hey, you know what? Most dash cams are two cameras, one in the front, one in the back. But there are certain cameras that ThinkWare makes where you can buy an expansion module so you can add accessories and add up to 2 more dash cams.
Yes.
So if you're worried about like getting pulled over and you want to make sure that like you could see the interaction between you and the fuzz, you can add a night vision camera into the car because it's going to be darker and so that they can see what's going on. Or you could add 2 side cameras, one for left, one for right, so you can see when that truck drives over into the side of you. Yeah, it's all kinds of craziness, but to make life just a little bit more sane, head over to thinkwarestore.com and pick the camera that best fits your requirements.
thinkwarestores.com.
Boom. Way to go, Fernando. Hi, GB25s or Hertz Milli Legends for a 3-way setup. I'm using Audio Development 8-inch. Yeah, Neo Door and my Tesla already have Milli Legends left over from a previous build. So, I mean, anytime you give me an option and Audio Frog is on there, you really, you're not playing fair. I'm like, unless you're saying Morel or Audio Frog, I'm gonna pick the Morel, but like in this case, I'm picking the Audio Frogs because shit, they're awesome, and I know the guy that designed them, and he's a really cool dude. It's like, hey, bro, we got a lot of power in here and some really nice speakers. Yeah, California all the way. Yeah, love Andy. And he makes really amazing stuff. But they do, Scott says it best, man. They do both sound awesome. And it's a tough call. Dean Sweardrop. Did I cuss? Oh, my bad.
Swear?
I guess I swore. I don't know. It happens. But no, I'm gonna go with the Audio Frog. But either one is gonna do the job, man. Either one is gonna do the job. I think if you just want a little bit more out of control feeling, like just little anger rock, then the Millis would probably be like when we get a headbanger. That's kind of the go-to speaker. It's like Focal or the Millis.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of how ridiculously intense you want to be. So
Yeah. Hey, why not?
yeah. Looking to upgrade speakers in a 2021 Ram with 1500 basic speakers from the factory. Is there a speaker you can recommend for hard rock? I will be doing a 4-channel amp also. Listen, to me personally, it's a 3.5 in the top of the dash and a 6x in the door. There's 2 companies right now that make really nice, easy drop-ins. That's going to be the Kenwood
6903s.
Exelon 6903s, as well as the Rockford KS equivalent version. It's a 6x9 3.5 coaxial that they make as well. There you go. Both of them make a set of components, or sorry, it's not a coaxial, it's a component. Mid-bass 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
They both make a coaxial go in the rear. We sell the most popular speaker we sell in the store. As far as that set goes, 6903s. It's ridiculous. They go in everything. No, not the Alpines. Yeah, but I mean, hey, they do also make a set too. Alpine does make a set. If you're an Alpine fanboy, they do. But they don't own a candle to the Kenwoods. Kenwoods just destroy.
Talking about the Kenwoods, it's the key 200.
Yeah.
Enough power to run
all day.
The Kenwood 6903 is active.
No, do it. Full yeah, man. It's fantastic. They're very efficient speakers. That's got plenty of power. We've done it a bunch of times. I mean, it's, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah?
Dude, the key is powerful, bro. It's the key to your heart.
True or false? Passive crossovers doesn't divide watts. They only divide frequencies.
That's a good question. I mean, technically, yeah. They're dividing. They're taking signal.
Technically, yeah. So
technically,
true?
Yes, it's true. It is only dividing frequency. The watts are going to be what they are. Now, there's typically in most crossovers they do have resistors in there to cut the amount of voltage that is getting to a particular speaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big white sand. So they're not dividing it. They are limiting it in the passive crossover. So passive crossovers can only handle so much power before they just tap out and turn into heat. But if it's a high-end passive crossover, it will have some form of a resistor to change the impedance so that less power gets to a particular driver. So yeah, but it is dividing the frequency. So like if you put it on an RTA and there is no sandstone filters or resistors in there, and you play the frequency and it's like a pink noise, and you could look at it through the RTA and see what your max volume is out of your tweeter, your max volume out of, or just have 2 RTAs going, or just an RTA 2 and toggle switch between the 2, and you can see where your levels are at, and they're going to be the same unless you do attenuation. So I feel like the attenuation circuit is what's going to screw that up, if anything. But yeah, it is dividing just frequency.
All right.
And that's something I never think about because who cares? But I could see where that would be a question in a bar one night and they fight over it. I'm in the middle of an install in And
2005
yeah,
Excursion.
sorry, I'm still thinking of the other question.
I saw a video where someone put sound dampening inside the seal box.
Yeah.
Like say whatever
Sounds
skin. Yeah. Is there any benefit to doing that?
Man, that is a fantastic question. And I've been asking that one myself because sometimes I look at that and go,
oh, you should ask Nick.
Why would you do? And the foam stuff kind of makes sense a little bit, but not much. It helps seal up the corners. That's something, but I mean, you can do that with silicone. I personally think that just adding batten material to the inside of it would probably just the thin white stuff, not polyfill, but the polycloth on the inside would probably be more than the. Yeah, I don't know. I've yet to figure out why they do that. So, because I think most of the time it's like there's an acrylic window and they're doing it so that you can see like that brand. It's like, ooh, look at that.
No, but this is no.
I don't know. I mean, if the box is thin,
right,
like it had to be thin in one spot. Like I've done it in a thin enclosure where we had to, like make the wall thinner than I wanted it. Like I used 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch.
And then you put.
I'll put sound dampening all over that thing on both sides to make it a little bit more rigid and hope that it doesn't.
But other than that, it's no benefit of sound.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe you get a dB. Mel would be like, I got a dB more.
One more dB.
One more dB.
I like it.
What's your most favorite head unit with high voltage RCA's front and rear sub? So, if you're just talking like a double DIN, I'll give you two. You have the Kenwood 958 and you have the Sony 9000. Those two are both excellent. If we're talking floating screens, you're going to talk about the Sony 9500 or the 1057 from Kenwood. One of those two is going to be, the 1057 to me is got the most features and can do the most fun out of all of them. This 9500 and the 9000 both have the same feature set, which is really cool. The 1059 does not have the same feature set as a 1057, which to me I think is really a bummer because they don't do that. They have no plans of doing that anytime soon. So, yeah. Yep. Anyways. Is polyfill inside of a fire? Well, I mean, I would hope not. I mean, I think that'd be the least of your worries. I've never had one catch on fire. I mean, it could, if you're doing some really stupid stuff. I mean, I've had a box. I've seen a box catch on fire before, but it's usually you did something really bad. Like usually it's the speaker cup that causes the most problems in a box, not the polyfill. Because the speaker cups, the shitty speaker cups, oops, swear jar, they come loose, and that creates heat, and it could create a spark. And so I suppose you could, but just buy a better speaker cup. So I wouldn't blame the polyfill. I would just blame the crappy speaker cup.
Just 20 speaker.
Yes, just cheapy crap. 2021 GM with Bose going active mids and tweets. Should I go 3-way in the door or 6x9 woofer? So, I mean, that's assuming you've taken care of the whole integrating with the Bose thing. That's up to you. I mean, Brian in his truck, Brian Mitchell has the GMC full-size pickup truck. He's running a set of 6.5-inch components, and it's probably one of the best sounding trucks anyone has ever heard with just a 6.5 component. If you can go a 3-way set, you'll definitely be happier. But the 3-way set should be up in the pillar and not on the door. So you don't want to put the tweeter on the door. You'd want to get pods to put them onto the A-pillar. That would be the better way. Or make new grills to put the 3.5 or 2.5 and tweeter in the top of the dash, not in the door. So, curious if the OME decks are any good. Currently, I have an Acura 2022 with factory sound.
2020.
Yeah, whatever. How can you get better these days when the car companies include AC and more in the deck? So this is a lot to unpack. So let's kind of go at it. You have a 2020. It has an up mixer built into it. There again, how do you make it sound better? You put better speakers. You re-EQ them. You let the Dirac, if that's what it is, do its thing. that's not going to change with new speakers. It's just going to sound better because you have a $5 speaker in there. You put a better speaker, you put a DSP, you use the equalization circuit only, and yes, you can get a much better sound than what the factory's throwing down because they got $5 speakers all the way around in that thing. So that's easy enough to do. So that's one solution to the problem. As far as, like you say, air conditioning, now in an Acura, there's going to be no swapping out that head unit. So we're just going to go DSP. But in some of the other vehicles that do have air conditioning built into the radio, that's a simple enough solution that iData has been dealing with, and that's what the RR does. So the RR is designed to integrate into the factory data bus system and then take that information. And if your radio, aftermarket radio, is RR compliant, it has a digital port on the back, and all that information that the factory, such as air conditioning, how to set up your lights, door locks, TPS sensors, clocks, all of the back end stuff that you like have to go to the menus, all get brought into your aftermarket radio. Okay, so that you can still control all those things. So it's almost like all you're doing is swapping the head unit, putting a new head unit in that keeps all your stuff, but now adds all the other things that the aftermarket company is providing for you. So that's really what happens these days. Right now, like a 2020 Acura, there is no version of that for that because for some reason Honda is just like, there's no love. It's very strange. I don't understand it, but it is on the whiteboard. I think it's made it past the whiteboard, so there will be solutions for that car. Just I don't know when. Curious about your thoughts for systems in non-amplified 2024 Chrysler Pacifica wheelchair accessible van. Obviously keeping factory head unit, but thinking a full active system would be awesome. So it's a 2024, which means the new Amp Pro will work in that car. So you can, if it's non-amplified, it's okay. You can reflash the radio to amplified with the newest version of the Amp Pro for the newer plugs. The problem is, as you said, it's a wheelchair accessible van, and when they build those things, they just cut the whole bottoms of the car. So getting wires from the front to the back is very, very difficult and sometimes impossible, especially if it's got two sliding doors. The way they cut those things can sometimes make it like
it's hard.
It's very hard. I don't know other way to say it other than it's very hard. So a lot of the times what you end up having to do is put small stuff up front. Now, if you have like the seats that come out, that makes it even more difficult. So you're going to have to find somebody that can deal with that particular vehicle and the whatever characteristics the vehicle had put in it for the wheelchair accessibility. As far as like thinking a full active system would be awesome, I would agree. That's going to sound the best. So
yeah, for sure.
Find yourself do it.
Do it.
I found an Alpine i209 GM for sale. Is it worth it or get something newer?
Oof.
Okay, so I'll tell you the story. We'll end on that. Back when that radio came out, the Japanese were going on a world tour, meaning they were bringing in the Japanese to America to take into key dealers. We had just done one of those in a GM, and we, at the time, had it on display in the store, along with Pioneers and some other manufacturers that were big like that. And the problem that I said to them is they were like, for one, it's slow as hell. And they're like, oh, no, it's super fast. And I go up to it, and I hit the button, and I hit the button more times, and then it had to catch up. It was like when your Windows machine is thinking, and you hit the button 10,000 times, and then all of a sudden it has to do all 10,000 things, and you're like, no, stop! And it's just like, okay. So it did that, and I was like, see, and I went over to the Pioneer at the time, and it actually like froggered up and down just fine. It looks fantastic. It looks great in the dash. It was a super fantastic, like, ooh, baby.
The idea was great,
but the execution of it kind of sucked. If you're going for the look, great. If anything else, like feature wise,
you should get something like look into the Stinger.
Stinger High 10.
The Stinger High 10 or the New Horizon.
Yeah.
They coming out with GM.
Well, yeah, but I think they didn't make. I don't think they make this. I think this is specific. I think the 209. But either way,
I mean,
I would not buy it.
I would not buy it.
Could you lose the thinky wear thingy? Okay, I'll there we go. Factory OEM radio to Audison 8.9F for front stage, and it goes to the sub. for mid bass. Yep. I have a DM810 that I can use as well for full active. Should I do both or suggest? Either one of them would be fine. They both should do the trick. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about the 8.9 is it's small and compact, and that'll work. It's the F, so it's actually the more powerful one. That was a really solid amplifier. Like, I think I have one of those for myself because I know I have the small one. I think I did buy an F too. So I would go for the F. Less parts. I like less parts. Less parts are better. Hey guys. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? It's like we've done it. We've made it through the show. It seems like it just started not too long ago.
Yes.
Woo! I'd like to first off thank you guys so much for providing us with the questions tonight, because without you, we wouldn't be doing this show. We've been doing it a really long time, and it's amazing that you guys still come up with some amazing questions and keep us on our toes. That is for sure. Whoo! I feel like Ric Flair. I'd like to thank our sponsors of the show, Mosconi, Gladen, Focal, AudioControl, Arc Audio, Thinkware Dash Cams. Who am I missing?
AudioControl.
I got AudioControl. Mosconi, Focal,
Gladen. Yeah.
I'd like to thank Kenwood for sponsoring the 12 Volt Clean Water Club. I'd like to thank them all. And the reason why we do it is so that we can do this for you guys. It's fun. And of course, DNF Tool Drawer is a place you can find all the cool tools that we use. DNF swag. You can get cool shirts from there. Like I know the Jeff Smith, one of our most popular shirts. Go figure. Who doesn't want a piece of Jeff? So sexy. Anyways, that's all we got. It's a normal week for us. We don't leave until Monday morning at the crack of oh my gosh. So
Monday morning.
Yeah, we leave Monday morning.
Jesus, bro.
It's gonna be great.
I'm nervous.
Why? Dude,
I'm
we've been there.
Sick.
Oh my God, you're so mental.
Anyways, see you at SEMA.
Definitely see you at SEMA. Can't
right.
wait to be there. It's gonna be fun. Any of you guys that are going, make sure to head over to the Rockford booth. Get a demo on whatever it is we're talking about that we can't talk about yet.
I'm going to tell you all the secrets at that day.
It's been out to the public, and if you've been to one of their thingies, you've seen it. But that's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Come say hi.
Come say hi. Come meet Dougie Fresh. He'll be there. I'll introduce you to Dougie Fresh. Come say hi to Fernando. He'll be hiding behind the counter because it's that high, and he can just kind of look over and be like, hi, guys.
No, I'm going to be in the car.
You're going to be in the car?
I'm gonna be in
the car,
motorcycle, bro. Something in there.
Yeah, we'll probably have both. Yeah. Anyways, hey, that's it. Make sure to tune in to Instagram, and we'll go on and talk about it. We didn't go on today. Today was a weird day, but
glitter
that's okay.
At SEMA.
Glitter at SEMA. Oh yeah. No glitter this year. She's still trying to get it out of my hair, according to Pate. Anyways, that's all we got for you. That's the show. We'll see you back here Friday morning at 9 to do the news, and of course Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And head over to Instagram if you want to talk to us during the week so you don't feel left out.
Thank you, guys.
That's all we got. Boom. Bye.